Hello and welcome to Pride of South London Fan TV. Ali here, bringing you my post-match review of Bournemouth v Palace at the Vitality Stadium. But before I do, I'd just like to give my sincere thanks to Brighton for beating Arsenal, allowing us to overtake Arsenal in the table. Probably the kindest act I've seen since Brighton's defence parted to allow Jordan Ayew through. Anyway, where to start today? Still buzzing a bit from the result. I think the only place to start, and it does feel strange saying this as a Palace fan, and I think Luca nailed it in his post-match interview, when anyone associated with Palace in the Premier League at least is used to looking down the table rather than up the table. But I think now Roy and the players would kind of be unprofessional if they weren't looking at these European spots as a possible target. I think, Roy is such a seasoned manager and we've got such a solid group of players that they probably will, and rightly so, follow that cliche mantra of one game at a time. But we are now 2 points off 7th and 4 points off Man United in 5th. And if Man City's Champions League ban goes through, then we are 4 points off a Champions League place. So, if you're a football fan and you can't dream in this position right now, well, you're following the wrong sport really for me. So we're allowed to dream a little bit tonight. But like I said, a tough game coming up on Wednesday night at Anfield. I think it was just a brilliant performance from start to finish. And I think we were all a bit worried about how the players would be with no crowd or with the new safety protocols. And I think before I go into the players, I've got to give credit to Steve Parish, because I think it was a really assured performance today. And I think that assurance has come right from the top of the club. And I think Parish has quite rightly taken a lot of plaudits for his role in helping the Premier League, getting football back, and also from the players' interviews and the sound bites they've been giving out, that, they felt comfortable and been really happy with the communication with the club since they started training. So I think, you could just get a sense that there's a real calm atmosphere within the squad. And it was just an assured performance from start to finish. I mean, Bournemouth were not great, but we didn't really give them an opportunity to get into the game. And I spoke in my pre-match review that I thought that David Brooks might be a player to watch, and Bournemouth quite like to play it wide and play their little passes, but we didn't allow them to get into any sort of groove. And I think our defence was extremely compact today. I think PVA was great down the left, and Joel Ward really must be one of the most underrated players, not just at Palace, but in the Premier League in general. And there's a lot of talk at the moment of Nathan Ferguson coming in or Nathaniel Klein coming back. But anyone who comes in really has to get that shirt off Joel, because at the moment, quite rightly, it is his. He's had a really good season. And it probably has surprised us in how well he slotted back in since Wan-Bissaka left. I think, Scott Dan as well, another player who's come back in the team and shown that he's still got a lot of life in him. And alongside Gary Cahill, who is, for me, a player who might just be making a few Palace fans review their all-time Palace XV, because his reading of the game is absolutely superb. But that partnership that he is forming with Scott Dan is a really good one. It was showing really good signs before lockdown, but again today it was a really fantastic display from them. Never really felt threatened by Bournemouth, and I think Mohamed Sakho and James Tompkins will be looking at those two and thinking, how are we going to get in this team? Because for me, it's forming into a beautiful relationship, quite possibly the most beautiful relationship I've seen since Pat and Frank Butcher. Anyway, moving on to the midfield, the more attacking areas, I thought Wilf again had a good game. I think, there was stuff again in social media today I was seeing about his stats and all of that. But what you saw today was sort of the effect that Wilf can have. I don't think it was his most blockbuster performance, but again, he was the assist before the assist. He won the free kick for Luca to score that goal. So, I think when you look at managers in the game who are quite stats obsessed, You think of sort of Sam Allardyce and Tony Pulis, two very good managers who were good managers for Crystal Palace, but you always felt they had that ceiling. So these people, these football fans who bang on about stats and can't see the wider effect that Wilf brings to a team, probably need a bit of football education, to be honest. I thought as well, Jordan Ayew, what a clinical finish from Jordan Ayew. And I was also loving his hold-up play in the corner. He did the one with Benteke against Watford at the corner flag that went viral. But again, a brilliant performance for him. 2.5 million for Jordan Ayew. Gary Cahill on a free. Vincenzo Guaita on a free. I mean, there was a period where Palace fans were questioning our transfer business, but those three have been absolutely superb. And Benteke as well. I mean, he didn't score again, but he's winning more in the air, and his link-up play again, very good. And we talked a bit about the partnerships at the back, but though that front three is looking very set now, and the link-up play is very effective at the moment. And if you're Andros Townsend, you're looking in thinking, how am I going to get in? I think Andros Townsend will get game time based on the amount of games he's got to get through in the next few weeks. But that front three looks very set too. I'm going to do my man of the match. Every week I will give a man of the match. And it's a tough one because I thought James McArthur really ran the show today. And he's an interesting player in that sometimes what he does doesn't always get noticed. But maybe it was the fact there's no crowd and the big moments, aren't as accentuated. But it was just so obvious what he brings to the team today. He was absolutely running the show. So I was tempted to give it to James McArthur, but I think it was a real pivotal game for Luca. I talked in my preview about how possibly James McCarthy would be the better option. I know I saw on social media that other fans were debating it too. And I think he definitely has earned his name on the team sheet, probably one of the first names on the team sheet now for Anfield, and rightly so. And hopefully this is a springboard for him now to show the form that he's shown us in previous seasons. But I talked at the start about how Steve Parish has shown leadership. What did you want from your captain coming into this situation today? To step up and bang that free kick in like he did was absolutely superb. And he just set the tone then for the rest of the game. We were in absolute control after that. So man of the match for me is Luca. Well done, Luca. Great display. In terms of Roy, I'm going to give Roy a rating every week as well. I mean, I don't really know what more Roy could have done. He brought a few subs on. I don't think we can judge him with this 5-sub situation until we're in a situation where we're coming in from behind, because that's usually where the slight criticisms come in for him, that he doesn't change it soon enough. But I can't really doubt him because he chose the team that I selected in my preview. I'm going to give Roy a 10. I think first game back, great performance. Can't really think of anything else he could have done. Moving on, referee rating. I'm going to go for a 6. I mean, I know there was that situation where Joel Ward got the booking and then they probably did a worse foul a minute later. Maybe it's because we won. I'm not really that bothered, but I thought there was nothing too controversial. It was a little bit worrying, wasn't it, when Gary Cahill had that review and you're sort of sitting there on around 50 minutes thinking, oh, this would be typical Palace, that you feel comfortable, and then suddenly the whole game is flipped on its head. But thankfully, and I don't think it was a red card, he'd won the ball before, but as the commentator said, you have seen them given before. So that was good. So referee 6 out of 10. And benched. Benched is another category I've got. So is there any player that I would bench for the next game? I don't think any of them deserve to be dropped. They all played extremely well. The only one, and it wouldn't be based on performance, but you could possibly come out of the team, I think, at Liverpool, based on the fact is I'd question whether maybe he can play 2 games in a week, is Scott Dan. Maybe there's scope for bringing in Sacco there, but I thought, like I said earlier, on in this review, that I think Scott Dan had a very good performance again, and that partnership with Gary Cahill is forming the heart of what we're doing at the moment. So yeah, a brilliant performance. If you disagree with anything I've said on the man of the match, on Roy's rating, on the referee rating, please comment on the comment section below. Please subscribe as well. Plenty of other videos on the channel. That's me now. I'm going to go for a socially distanced physio session because my neck's hurting from looking down on Arsenal in the table. But what performance, dare I say it, Europe, here we come.